this week's parsha, at the end of Bechukosai, so the Torah talks about Maaser Behema and a little bit Maaser Sheini. The Chinuch doesn't count the mitzvah of Maaser Sheini here. He counts the mitzvah of Maaser Sheini all the way in Re'eh and Devarim. However, the explanation for Maaser Sheini, he sends us back to here, to our parsha by Maaser Behema. And over there he explains a very important concept. It's really a very, very general concept. What is the Torah doing? I mean, Maaser Ani tzedakah, we understand the Torah tells us that you should give tzedakah. That's very, very understandable. Why the Torah was mechayev us to give tzedakah? Somebody's needy. He can't make his end. He doesn't make the month, so we have to help him out. What is this Maaser Sheini? You get to eat it, but in Yerushalayim. What's the whole concept? So the Chinuch explains that it's a whole education process for whole Gans Klal. He explains it here in Mitzvah Shin Samach. For Maaser Sheini, he also sends us back to here, and he explains like this. I don't want to read the whole thing, but the bottom line is that Akash Baruch Hu wanted that Klal Yisrael should be well educated, and Klal Yisrael should be all Mizuras and Yarei Shemayim. And how are we going to do? What's going to be our chizik? What's going to be our source of Torah and Yerushalayim? What's going to be the source? So he understands like he says, most people are going to be living in their towns, where their panos is, where their business is, where whatever it is, and most people can't be sitting and learning the whole day, right? So what are they going to do? Where are they going to get their source of Torah, and where are they going to get their source of Yerushalayim? So he says, So what's he going to do? Start the Chinuch like this. Every single person has to cut off 10% of his wealth, 10% of his money by Maaser Sheini, and 10% of his cattle has to be eaten in Yerushalayim. So what's he going to do? First of all, he's going to buy himself a deer in Yerushalayim, and he's going to settle there for a long time. He's not just going to go for Shalosh Regalim. He's going to be there. He's going to spend some time in Yerushalayim. But he says more than that. He says he has extra money. He's going to end up putting one of his kids there. One of his kids are going to live in Yerushalayim, and that son is going to be is a family member, but he lives in Yerushalayim. What does he see in Yerushalayim? He sees Sanhedrin. He sees the Kahanim Zuzim. He sees that whole. He's going to be taking in Yerushalayim the whole day. He's going to be part of Yerushalayim. He's going to be the Kol Yigam of the family, and he's part of the family, and they meet by Simchas. They meet by every single time. And he's going to be their resident rabbi, and from that's how Gans Klal Yisrael is going to be mechuzik and learned and everything. He says, if you're going to have just a Rav, just a Rav in town, so how many people are going to see him? They're going to see him once a year, so here and there. But if you have a family member who's the Ben Torah, you have the family member who's a Yerushalayim, he's going to be a source of tremendous amount of chizuk and Libnat Torah and in Yerushalayim, and that's how it works. So that's the whole system. It's a Gavaldic system. Everybody has to cut off 10% of their wealth, and you get to use it yourself. Just make sure that it's used in Yerushalayim. Once it's used in Yerushalayim, though everybody gets to be yonik. Everybody gets to nourish from that source of Yerushalayim, which was a source of tremendous amount of chizuk and Torah. That's the Chinuch. He explains in this week's parsha. This concept of the Chinuch is not just the Chinuch. It's also a Tosfus. It's a Tosfus in Bava Basra. It's a Tosfus of Bava Basra in the second parak, Daf Chof Aleph from an Aleph. Tosfus says the Gemara is talking about the original takonos. The original takonos when it was instituted that you have to that the township has to make sure that there's a cheder. They have to make sure that there's somebody hired to teach the boys Torah. The Gemara ultimately there was a whole progression how that takonos went. Ultimately, there's a takana that there should be a malamed in every town. But originally, the takana was Hiskinu shiu meshivim malamdei tenerkes b'Yerushalayim. My drosh. Why? Kibbutz takes a Torah. So over there, the Tosfos Tosfus explains why in Yerushalayim, and he explains the same thing. And not only that, Tosfus brings down a Sifri. Fisha Yeroya Kedusha Gedola Ukahanam Oiskim Ba'Avodah Hayim Chav Liba Yosel Yerushalayim. That's mamish this concept. And V'lu My Torah Kedashina B'Sifri. Now Tosfus brings down the Sifri, which we don't have the Sifri, but the Sifri is mamish says this concept in Mefurish. Kedashim b'Sifri l'man tilma l'yira God the Maaser Sheini shemeli l'dei Talmud l'fi shayim in Yerushalayim at sheyecha Maaser Sheini. He would stick around Yerushalayim until he would eat up his Maaser Sheini shalai v'yaroya shekulam v'iskim v'lechas shamayim v'avodah hayagamu mechav Yerushalayim v'iskim. That's the Chinuch and that's the Tosfus. And that's probably the pshat why we always say after davening we say the Hirotzen. After Shemona Esrei, so we say, Shibana Beis Hamikdash Me'erev Yameinu, we say Chalkeinu B'Ser Yisach. What's the shaykhis? What does one have to do with the other? Everybody wants to know what's the shaykhis. The teretz is that Yerushalayim once the Beis Hamikdash is built, Yerushalayim becomes this hub and a tremendous source of chizuk and a tremendous source of limud Torah for everybody. It becomes this source that everybody gets to nourish from, and everybody gets to. That's the Chinuch. That's the Tosfus. That's the. So I just want to be moist of one page. I just want to say like this. It always bothered me, and it's something that needs a hezbollah. After the Egel, so Klal Yisrael. Obviously, they lost the Bechorim and everything. One of the things is that we lost the Avodah Bechorim. Why is that? What happened? That the Avodah Bechorim that had to stop. So I want to suggest like this. This system where Yerushalayim becomes this source of tremendous chizuk and becomes a bustling Torah town. Who creates that ruach? It's the Kahanim. They have that ruach and they had that source, right? What would have happened had Klal Yisrael not been chayta? What would have happened? The Avodah would have been b'chayres. We would have had the exact same thing. Just we would have subtracted one step. It means like this. Right now, the Chinuch explains it works like this. The Kahanim create this Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is Knach. Yerushalayim is full of life and full of chizuk, full of Torah and full of Yerushalayim, right? And every family has a member that lives in Yerushalayim, and he nourishes from what Yerushalayim is, and he brings it home, right? That's the system, the way it works. That's how it works currently. Had the Avodah been b'chayres, it would have been the same exact thing, just one step less. In other words, instead of the Kahanim creating the Ruach in Yerushalayim, and then all the family members nourishing from Yerushalayim, it would have been that every family would have sent their Bechor to Yerushalayim. They would have created this Ruach, and they would be the same people nourishing. In other words, they would be creating Yerushalayim, and they would be nourishing from Yerushalayim. They would not only be being yonik, they would not only be nourishing from the ruach that the Kahanim made, they would also be the ones that are Yerushalayim. They are the members of Yerushalayim. They're not just people that are living in Yerushalayim and gnashing off the ruach that the Kahanim made. Right? That's what would have been. What happened? Once Klal Yisrael doing the Egel, then they had to stop. They had to first be the Kahanim. Kahanim create Yerushalayim, and we nourish from the Yerushalayim that was created by the Kahanim. Why? Because what happened by the Egel? What happened? Klal Yisrael did the Egel, generally whatever Klal Yisrael did, except one shevet. One shevet stayed clean, which showed that you can't create a Yerushalayim. You can't create a chizuk. You can't create the Yerushalayim by different members from every family. You need one shevet Levi. They're solid. Once they're solid, then we can nourish. You can't create a Yerushalayim by different members coming, every single family sending a Bechor to Yerushalayim, and we'll have the Kahanim Zuzimim because since they're part of the Shvatim that are obviously they're busy with Panos and they're busy with other things, they can also fall. you have to first create the Yerushalayim Avodah Bechorim. I mean, you have to first start with the Kanim Levim that they create a Yerushalayim that's tremendously mechuzek. They create the Yerushalayim. Once you have a Yerushalayim that's full and fully that's fully functioning with the Kohanim themselves, that they have their own, and they don't have family members that are busy with other things. They're 100% focused only on Liudat Torah. They're only focused on Yerushalayim. They're focused on their Avodah. Once they create this Yerushalayim, then afterwards all the members, all the other families send their nitzik, they send their representative, their Bechor, their family member that's going to sit in Yerushalayim, and he's going to be able to to Nash Yerushalayim. Before the Egel, Chayso was able to send. We will be able to send the Bechor. Every family had the Bechor was the Avodah Bechorim. They went to Yerushalayim, and he was and he would have been the one that would create this Yerushalayim, this system. But once Klal Yisrael did the Egel, and it became clear that Klal Yisrael, we have to start with a source. We have to start with one Shevet that's going to be totally free before we start nourishing. Then it had to be that first Shevet Levi creates the Yerushalayim. Shevet Levi first, they're the ones that create this Yerushalayim. That's the whole chizuk, and then once Yerushalayim is a bustling town, Yerushalayim is already a place where it's kimitzi and teitz Torah. Now everybody sends a member, and every family can nourish and nash from that Yerushalayim.
No. Go ahead.